The first time I heard the voice coming from the third rail, I thought the cold had finally gotten to me. It was past midnight, December of '84, and the one train platform at Chambers Street was nearly empty. Just me, a flickering overhead light, and a poster peeling off the tiles like dead skin. The whole station smelled like rust and old pennies. My breath came out in little pale ghosts that drifted through the fluorescent hum. I was heading home from a late shift at the bodega. The kind of shift that left your bones feeling heavier than your body. The train was delayed again, naturally, so I sat on the wooden bench, listening to the groans of the old tunnel. That's when I heard my name. Soft. Barely a whisper. But unmistakable. Daniel? I froze. The voice came from the tracks, low and vibrating, like electricity trying to form words. I leaned forward slightly, peering into the darkness below. The third rail buzzed weakly, a slow pulse of power running through its metal spine. "Hello?" I asked, immediately regretting it. Nothing. Just the hum of current. I rubbed my eyes. I hadn't slept much. Maybe I'd nodded off. But as the minutes crawled by, the air in the station grew colder, heavier. The flickering light above me snapped off completely with a small pop. Now I could hear every echo, every shifting footstep in tunnels where no one walked. Then the whisper came again, closer this time. "Daniel, don't go home." My skin prickled. "Who's there?" I whispered. Silence. Then a faint metallic scrape somewhere deep in the tunnel. I stood up, heart thudding. Another train should have arrived by now, but the tracks were dark and empty, stretching into nothingness like the open throat of some sleeping animal. That's when the air shifted behind me. I turned and saw a man at the far end of the platform. He stood completely still, face turned away, wearing a soaked trench coat that dripped onto the tiles. I hadn't heard him come in. "Sir," I called. "Did you hear something just now?" He didn't answer. He didn't even move. I took a small step toward him, and the third rail hissed sharply, almost like it was warning me. The man flinched, subtle but unmistakable. His shoulders twitched like the sound had physically struck him. Instinctively, I stepped back. The whisper rose again, this time urgent. "Do not speak to him." My throat tightened. The man slowly turned his head, and for a moment I wished the lights had stayed off. His face was grey, gaunt, sunken in like the cold had hollowed him out. Water ran down his cheeks as if he'd just crawled out of the East River. His eyes, I'll never forget those eyes, they looked burnt. Blackened around the edges, melted almost. When he smiled, a dark trickle slid down the side of his jaw. He raised one shaking hand and pointed at me. "You hear it too," he rasped. I backed away. "No, I don't know what you're talking about." He took a step forward, leaving a wet footprint behind. They told me the same lies, before I followed them into the dark. The lights flickered violently overhead. Each flash made his silhouette stutter closer, like he was moving between the frames of a broken film reel. The third rail hissed again, "Run." I bolted down the platform. The man shouted behind me, a broken animal sound, and the station seemed to bend, warping the echoes. My boots slid on the damp tiles as I made it to the other end of the platform where the emergency staircase climbed into darkness. I took the first step and stopped, because the whisper had changed. Now it was not urgent, not warning me, just gentle. "Daniel, stay. Your train is coming." Every instinct screamed go, but I hesitated. The station was dead silent except for my breathing and the soft hum of the electrified rail. Far in the tunnel, I saw light. Headlights. A train was finally coming. Relief washed over me until I realized the lights were too dim, too yellow, and the rumble wasn't the low thunder of a subway car, but something slower, wet almost, like something dragging itself along the tracks. The whisper grew louder. "Stay, stay, stay." The man in the trench coat staggered forward, eyes wide with terror. "Don't listen," he screamed. "It's hungry." Then I saw it. The shadows behind the approaching lights weren't shaped like train cars. They were shaped like faces stretching across the tunnel walls, dozens of them, mouths open in silent screams, eyes flickering like dying bulbs. The lights weren't headlights, they were eyes, and they were looking at me. I stumbled backward toward the staircase. The whisper surged, no longer a single voice but a chorus, dozens layered together, overlapping like broken radio frequencies. "Daniel, come back. Come back to us. Come home." The man lunged toward me, as if to shove me up the stairs. "Move!" But I froze again, because as he grabbed my arm, his trench coat slipped aside, and I saw the burns along his ribs, long, thin, precise, like electric tracks scorched into flesh. He wasn't soaked with water, he was soaked with melted snow and blood. He had crawled out of the dark, out of those things. I wrenched free and sprinted up the stairs, never looking back until I burst onto the empty street. Snow blew sideways across the pavement, bitter and sharp. Behind me, deep below, I heard a sound that didn't belong to anything human, a wet, grinding roar, like something enormous scraping against stone. I never took the subway at night again. But last week, 30 years later, I found something in my mailbox, a photograph of me, standing alone on that platform in 1984, staring down at the tracks. Only, in the photo, I wasn't alone. Next to me, hand on my shoulder, was the burned man, and behind us both, emerging from the tunnel, were the faces, lit by that same dim yellow glow. Scrawled on the back in shaky handwriting, "You left too soon. The rail still remembers your name."